Hello, and welcome to the Introduction to the Habitat Project. Firstly, we're going to go over a few general questions. What is a habitat? How many habitats are there? How do plants and animals relate to each other? First of all, a habitat is a natural home or environment of an animal, plant, or other organism. So I ask you to think about your habitat. Is it where you live at home, where you eat in your home? Is it where you go to school? To answer you, it's all of these things. For this project, everyone in the class will pick one habitat. Then you're going to research your habitat, and including the plants, the animals, and the climate of your habitat. And you're going to research how everything in your habitat relates to each other. After this, you will create a Padlet to present your ideas as well as take your notes. Your habitat choices include a desert, a forest, a wetland, or a grassland. Firstly, we're going to do a brief introduction to each habitat. So I ask you, which habitat is this? If you said desert, you're right. Deserts are defined by being the driest place on Earth. They are often thought of as being very hot, but they can also be very cold. They're usually hot. They're always very cold at night because there's nothing to keep the heat in. Okay, what kind of habitat is this? This is a wetland. If you need help, think about Princess and the Frog, which is set in a swamp. Wetlands can be all over the world. Depending on their location, wetlands are also called swamps, marshes, bogs, and fen. But they all have the general characteristics of being close to a freshwater stream. All right, does this habitat look familiar to you? Because it should. This is a deciduous forest. It's a habitat you're most likely familiar with. It's defined by the plants and animals' adaptations to the seasons changing. So, a deciduous forest undergoes changes in the fall, winter, spring, and summer. For example, right now all the leaves are changing colors, or have already. Does this habitat look familiar? These are the grasslands. If you need help, think about the Lion King. Grasslands are defined by vast open spaces filled with grass. There are very few trees. If there was more rain given to a grassland, they would be defined as a deciduous forest. If it was less rain, it'd be a desert. So a grassland is in between a desert and a deciduous forest. Alright, so after we've had that brief introduction to all of the habitats, you're going to try and choose a habitat you're going to research. So, to research your habitat, you will look at a bunch of different sources, which I'll get to later, and then you will present and take notes in a Padlet. And then you'll present your Padlet to the class. And I know you don't know what a Padlet is yet, but we're going to go over that right now. Alright, give me 1 second. Oh, here we go. I opened it like 18 times. Alright, so here's a demo of a Padlet. So basically, you can double click to make a Padlet. You could write down anything. So we're going to write down forest. Alright, so we can make the Padlet different colors. Let's make it green to match a forest. Or I guess the leaves are red now, so let's make it red. You can draw in a Padlet, so we could draw a leaf. Your drawings will be better than mine. And then the most important part of this Padlet is you can draw notes. So you can draw you could say trees are plants in a deciduous forest. Okay, so your Padlet will look, I also have a sample Padlet. Alright, so we're going to go to the sample Padlet, which is an example of how your notes in your presentation may eventually look. So here, this is an example of your desert biome. So you've got a picture of the desert here. And then, as we back out, do you see how everything is connected? Because in a habitat, everything's connected. Below your desert biome, you have plants, and plants receive energy from the sun, so all the plants are connected to the sun as well. And so we've got a bunch of different cacti over here. If you see these red boxes indicate that a red box signifies an adaptation that a plant or animal is experiencing. See? And then blue boxes signify there's human interaction within this habitat. So we have 3 different plants and 3 different animals. Your poplet will look a little bit like this, depending on what your biome is or your habitat is. But do you see how everything is interconnected? Because everything in a habitat is interconnected. So you are also going to create a poplet that looks something like this. And what we'll do later is you'll present your poplet, because there's a function on Poplet. I can't do it from this one the way I'm accessing it, but you'll present your Poplet to the class and you'll go over why everything is connected. So you'll share, for example, I'd share that a cactus wren lives in cacti and eats cactus berries and leaves, so therefore a cactus wren is dependent on cacti. It can run and fly great distances, and it lives in the southwest USA and central Mexico. And it's related to the Gila monster because the Gila monster eats birds' eggs. So do you see how the lines signify that everything is interconnected? Alrighty, so now that you guys have a general idea of how to do this project, we are going to get started and everyone's going to choose their project. Enjoy!